It is a foregone conclusion that Wentz is going to get traded out of Philadelphia. We're just dealing in the when, right? It's not. They want to do it. He wants it done. Everyone wants it done.
That's right.
It's just a question of when.
Yeah, and an important factor here is we talk about the deadline of being mid-March. So really, the Eagles do have some runway here to work with in terms of getting that trade done. But we should also point to, you want to make sure that you keep the leverage. When I say leverage, I mean you want as many teams as interested as possible. So if all of a sudden a team like the Bears or the Colts go and solidify their position elsewhere because they don't feel like it's going to get done with Wentz, then the Eagles might have trouble getting as much as possible for him. So beyond that deadline, to me, the real deadline for the Eagles is getting the deal done while they still have a number of offers on the table to get them as much as possible.
That's a really good and important point. I totally agree. As we bring everybody in, again, Mike Tannenbaum, you were a GM for a number of years with two different franchises. That's kind of the way this game is played, right? You need to make the deal as quickly as possible so you don't lose the leverage, but you don't want to take anything less than you can get. So let's start with this. If you're Ryan Pace and you're the general manager of the Chicago Bears, and you're going to call up Philadelphia, what are you offering? You say, I want Carson Wentz, and I'll give you what?
A first-round pick. And here's why. You have to win this year, and even though there's some risk with Carson Wentz, Greeny, he's a lot more of a stable sort of acquisition, less risky acquisition than any of those quarterbacks in this year's draft for a variety of reasons. And historically, about 40% of the time, quarterbacks taking the first round make the Pro Bowl. So I'm offering a first-round pick, and I'm standing pat.
Oh, that's interesting. That once you get past Trevor Lawrence, there are enough questions about all the other first-round quarterbacks in this draft. So let's reframe the question. If Carson Wentz was in this draft, which, granted, obviously the circumstances are totally different, Mike, would he be the second quarterback off the board after Lawrence?
No question about it. He would go second overall to the New York Jets. He's a guy that's played at a really high level. Obviously, there's a lot of issues right now about his confidence, but there's no question about it. Trevor Lawrence 1 to Jacksonville, Carson Wentz number 2 to the New York Jets.
All right, so that is instructive, and that might give you an idea why some of these other teams might also be interested here despite the price tag. Damien Woody, what is your sense of this? You've seen the way this thing is playing out with Wentz in Philly. What are your thoughts?
Greeny, it's hard to wrap my mind around this whole situation where, first of all, the compensation that you're going to have to give up both contractually and draft pick is just mind-boggling for a guy. When the last time he played really good football? Like, I think people tend to go back to like 2017 when he was, most people would agree he probably would have won the MVP if he had finished the season. And it's really been, he's really been average at best since then. And so it's like everyone has been waiting on Carson Wentz. Everyone believes in the talent. Everyone's been waiting, but we haven't seen Carson Wentz really ball now for a few years. I just think that it's risky at best.
But there's no question, Jeff, to sort of finish it up where we started, there's no question this will happen. The idea that this is not a Deshaun Watson thing where the organization is still hoping that they will be able to bring him back. The Eagles have resigned themselves to trading Carson Wentz. It's just a question of when they do it.
Yeah, Greeny, think about the fact, by the way, that this was a contract that felt like the Eagles could not unload. Any offer to get Carson Wentz off their books feels like a pretty good offer at this point. So it's not just about cutting him and dealing with the dead cap space. It's about unloading that contract. We saw essentially what the Rams did with Jared Goff. I don't think that they're going to get that much in this situation, but if they can unload the contract, yeah, this is happening.
Now, look, to bring it all full circle, Goff and Wentz and Dak Prescott all went in the same draft. Goff and Wentz were the first two picks. You've seen what's happened with Dak. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.